Namaste. Welcome to the Ilongga Yogi podcast. My name is Kate. I'm from Iloilo City. I'm a certified yoga instructor and certified in mental health counseling. I share content on yoga, mindfulness, fitness, mental health, self-care, and healing. Before we get into it, I want to let you know that I teach classes both in person and online. So if you're interested in taking a class with me, just head over to bookwen.com/healing-iloilo for the schedule and rates and to book as well. Hello once again. I'm happy to be back recording another episode, and I just wanted to go through a few updates in my life recently. I think the last time that I recorded an episode was early in Feb, so it's been about a month, and a lot has happened since then. I did celebrate my 31st birthday, and during the later part of February, my bestie arrived from Manila, so she visited Iloilo, and the last time she was here was in 2018, I think. And that time I was still kind of new in Iloilo again. Like it had been a while since I stayed and lived in Iloilo, so I didn't know much about where to go, where to hang out, what to do even in my hometown. So this time around, I already had an itinerary plan for all of us to really explore certain places that I've been to. Like, for example, what to do in Guimaras. One of my also oldest and dearest friends has her family has a resort, like a beach house there, and so that's where we kind of spent time at. And then we went to certain bars here that I know for sure would be good, restaurants that we've tried and tested and tasted again and again. And so it was really fun to have her in town and to have someone else here. It's always nice when you have a visitor, and it just makes you see your own hometown so differently. So we had a lot of fun, and it was so nice to have that kind of energy with us. But of course, it was pretty hectic of a month, like a busy month for me, because January, as you know, was already pretty intense, and then came, and same with December, like pretty much every single month since late last year. And then February was, of course, no different because it was my birthday month and my friend was here too. So this time around, like this whole month of March, I just told myself, I just want to take it easy. I want to slow down. I do not want to do anything. Like, even for my yoga classes, usually I would hold events every month. And for this month, I said, I just don't want to hold too many events, like probably just one. And that's it, because I didn't want to do anything else. So I really made sure that I get enough rest, because the past several months have been very hectic. So I've had the time to rest a little bit. We're already more than halfway through the month now, and I'm already starting to get bored. My mind, now that I'm saying it out loud, I realize that I think that's why I've been overthinking, or my mind has just been wandering so much lately, because I always catch myself thinking of where I want to travel to. Like, I want to go here, I want to go there, like I want to buy this, I want to do that. I think that's why, because I'm barely doing anything right now this March, and because I feel like I've adjusted to my routine, because late January I did have a new job, so the whole month of February I was adjusting to that. That was definitely my transition period, and now that I've settled in this new routine, I feel pretty relaxed. I kind of have an idea of how my day will go, or how to adjust my day around whatever work tasks or obligations I have for the week, and so I feel like pretty chill. So I guess that's why. And I think that's also why emotionally, mentally, it's been something. It's been something. Because of traumatic events that happened like late last year, I feel like I'm still going through that, like I'm still processing that. And so recently, just a few days ago, I booked an online counseling session with this new I don't know what to call them, but they offer services online. So it's a new group or new, I don't know, yun, basta, like just, this is new, period. And because I've been like on the hunt, I'm trying to look for counseling sessions that I can do more regularly, just because I used to have that. Like I used to have that back in 2018, and I'll talk about that more later on. But and then I slowly let it go because I felt like I was doing okay already. And then I also found one here in Iloilo. However, that person, my go-to person, is also no longer available just because she's busy. And actually, I work with her now too. So there's that. And then I also found another one, but it's more towards life coaching. And that's great. Like, I love that. But I think I'm looking for counseling. Like, I need therapy, that kind of thing. And my problem with it, though, is that here, because I guess of my own personal practice, like my healing journey, my mindfulness practice, my self-awareness practice, all these things, it's kind of hard for me to find someone who I can learn from, because the ones that I've already experienced, it's like I think they're great for the general public, but for the few who are, I guess, more aware of their mental state and their personal healing journey, I think I need more. Like I need somebody who also is into mindfulness and also goes through that, is, that's like their practice, but weaves it into therapy. So that's kind of hard, especially for me, because of just what I've gone through and what I'm currently going through. I just need something more, so that's kind of the struggle, because I guess it's the truth. I tweeted about it recently, actually, that like the deeper you are in your mindfulness practice and healing journey, the more isolated it can feel, because not that many tread on that path. So that's, I think, what I've been longing for, like looking for people who I can resonate with, whom I can talk about these things with. And I think that's why I do this podcast, because for now, this is the only place where I can do things like this, or like talk about things like that. But anyway, emotionally, just been quite a process. It's still not easy for me. And I did learn something a little bit from that counseling session recently, that maybe, it's been 5 months since what has happened, right? And I feel like maybe I'm just being a little too impatient with my healing. And I think that things like this will take a lot of more time to heal and for me to process. Like, it's not, I feel like now I'm realizing that it's just going to be there, like the fear, the anxiety, the emotions that stem from that moment will just continue to haunt me until the day that I finally accept it and become at peace with it. And I know that is so simple to say, like it seems like an easy thing, but I know that might take a lifetime, because there are other people involved. So, a lot of forgiveness has to come into play, which for me right now, I'm not ready for yet, so I think that's probably why. So I've learned to just be like, fine, it is what it is. I guess whatever I'm feeling will just be there, and I'll just have to be okay with it. But that still goes to say that I still need therapy. I still will need therapy. So if you who are listening right now have any recommendations, I would really appreciate it. But I think that's where I'm at. I definitely need more therapy. But for the meantime, while I am still in the hunt for a therapist or a counselor that resonates with me, journaling is one of the main things that I have used as a tool that has stuck with me for years. And so I started journaling way back when I was really young, actually. Like, it was just part of my life. I remember because, I grew up in the States, and even if, I didn't grow up in the States, but I also watched a lot of TV and movies from the US. So a lot of Western films and series and TV shows, whatever. And so I've always been drawn to that character of like this young girl who has a diary. So of course that came naturally to me. I loved writing in a notebook. And before, it was Dear Diary. And I would just write down everything that I felt like, oh my God, I hate her. And that's just been part of my life. Like, for the longest time, through high school, I've had a diary. I've had some sort of a journal. It was not something that I would do every single day, but it was just part of my life. So I know that's why it's so easy for me to promote, journaling and to practice journaling now because of that history. But most especially in 2018, like I mentioned, that's when I really started to journal regularly, consistently, pretty much every day. So in 2018, as you know, actually the year before that, 2017, I went through a breakup with my then partner for 3 years. And so I was going through that. That was like my first long-term relationship. And that was my, so it was kind of intense, it was intense for me to go through that breakup. And also, I didn't realize that I was pretty burnt out from teaching yoga, from working, from just like living in Manila. I was not okay. I remember my emotions were just all over the place, and it has been that way for probably like several years, but I felt it even more once I was no longer in that relationship, like realizing that I'm kind of alone, in this. So in 2017, I decided to go to a professional, to see a doctor, just because I just wanted answers. I just wanted answers. And I went to a couple of doctors with the support of my family, and both of those doctors diagnosed me with bipolar 2. So I talk about that more like in a separate episode. But basically, so 2017, I was diagnosed with bipolar 2, and I was also going through a breakup. So I decided to just drop everything and move to Iloilo City from Manila and just stay here so I can recover from everything, like take a break from everything. And so during this time, since I wasn't working, I wasn't doing anything, I was in a new place again, starting over again. So I didn't have that many friends here yet, because all my friends or my classmates, batchmates, they were all living their own lives already, or they were probably like out of the country already. So I was literally starting over again. So I had therapy. Like I mentioned earlier, I did have a therapist that I would talk to twice a month. And that was one thing that I was very consistent with for several months. And we did it online and everything. But of course, in between, I needed something to help release my emotions, my thoughts, everything that I was going through. And so I resorted to journaling. And again, like I mentioned, during this time, I didn't have friends here in the city in Iloilo, and I've always just had this habit of not being comfortable talking about my feelings with friends or with others. It's just very difficult for me, and I feel like it's just very depressing. And I don't know. I try to talk about it to others, but it's just not, to me, I don't like it. Like, I'd rather open up about it and talk about it to people when I feel like I've learned the lesson from that experience already, or like when I feel like I've healed from that already. That's why, like, in my podcast, I don't like to talk about anything when I'm like in the midst of it, because it just sounds like, what's the point? So journaling was like the perfect thing for me, because at least I could just spill my thoughts and not be judged by it, or not judge myself for it, or expect like anything from it. I can just say whatever I want to say. It doesn't even have to make sense. So I was very, very comfortable with that. So that's how journaling became a huge part of my life. So that in between those therapy sessions, I would just write whatever my mind was thinking. If I wasn't okay, if I was okay, what were the ups, what were the downs, what were the things that I loved about the day, or the things I didn't love about the day. So it was just like me coping with my loneliness, really, like the loneliness, the sadness, but also the uncertainty, because at that time I wasn't teaching yoga. I didn't have my studio then, right? And so I didn't really know, like, where do I go next? What do I do next? So I was kind of in between, and journaling really helped me through that time. It was that plus the therapy, like that was such a perfect combo for me, because as you know, I wanted to do all of that. I wanted to heal or manage my mental health, my bipolar 2, without any medication, because I've had medication in the past and I just didn't want to do it this time. So journaling and therapy were the two things that helped me through that. Basically, were the two things that really saved my mental health. And so this is why now at present, it's been several years. Like, it's hard to believe that it's actually been like 5 years since then. It just blows my mind how time flies so quickly, because it just feels like I just arrived in Iloilo like a year ago. But no, it's been 5 years. So much has changed. I've learned so much. I'm in a different place now. Like, mentally, I feel like I'm doing really well. Except things happen, right? And so that kind of just throws you off a little bit, but I know that there's many things to learn from that. And my journaling has also taught me so much and has evolved like through the past 5 years, because for me, that's the thing when it comes to journaling. I know a lot of people are very adamant about journaling, especially if you're a guy. It just doesn't seem like, you'd want to do a Dear Diary moment every day. But like I'm saying, there's so many methods of journaling. There's so many ways to journal. And even like when I look it up on YouTube, I see a lot of men talking about journaling and how they journal, because it is really healing. It is very therapeutic. So it's just all about finding the right way of journaling that works for you. And even that goes to say with even me, because through the years, my method of journaling has changed. It has evolved through the years. It has, even like after like a few months, I noticed that I want to journal differently this time around. And so I just allow it to flow with me, or to change with me, because every few months you learn something new, you go through different things. But one thing's for sure, whenever I journal, I know that it just never fails to ground me and to calm me whenever I'm overthinking or overwhelmed. So just like recently this March, because like in February, I kind of slacked off when it came to journaling because I was just so busy. But now, this time around, because I've noticed that I've been overthinking a lot, my emotions feel like they're starting to overwhelm me. All the more that I turn back to journaling again. And then on days when I feel like I have no motivation, like I feel my mind is delayed or super just not cooperating, or my mood just feels very off, I also resort to journaling just to help me focus. Like I allow my journaling experience to help me focus on what matters, or what I can do to help pull me out of whatever funk I'm feeling. And so whenever I need to just make sense of my thoughts, my feelings, especially because I'm, not very comfortable sharing it with others, journaling is always what I turn to. And the way I journal is I always journal in the morning. I found that works best for me. Of course, for others, maybe they'd prefer to journal at night before bed, just to clear their mind, so that the moment you fall asleep, you're not overthinking, your mind doesn't feel so busy. But for me, I like to do it in the morning, because I'm usually very energized. Like in the mornings than I am in the evening. So journaling in the morning has worked for me. And because now in our home, in our house, we have a garden, so I get to journal outside in the garden with the sun shining. It's just, very very nice and serene. But no, like with my dogs playing around, and I get to just sit in this very beautiful rocking chair and enjoy a cup of tea and feel like the sun and see the grass and the plants, and it just heals me. Like that, those like 30 minutes outside journaling just always heals me. Sometimes it's just 10 minutes too. It doesn't have to be a specific amount of time, but taking that time out of the day to not be on my phone, to not be cooped up inside, to just be outside in the garden alone with my dogs is the best feeling. And then taking time to journal helps me just connect with myself, with my thoughts and my emotions, and sort things out, especially if I feel a bit overwhelmed or just pretty off. Let's take a quick break from this episode to talk about my juice brand, Daily Greens. If you're in Iloilo City and looking for healthy juice that doesn't have any added sugar, no preservatives, but is packed with a variety of vegetables and fruits, then you should try Daily Greens. With 2 flavors, healthy greens, which is mostly leafy greens, and carrots and veg, which is 50% carrots and other vegetables and fruits. This is unlike any other juice sold on the market. Most juices are packed with more fruits to help it taste better, but completely miss the point of being a nutritious and healthy drink. Remember, fruits are still filled with sugar and must be enjoyed in controlled portions. Daily Greens makes sure that you get the most out of a bottle, packing it with more vegetables than fruits and making it fresh, not to mention affordable for everyone. You can enjoy a bottle or 2 every day, which is perfect if your goal is to maintain healthy yet easy habits in the long run. Because we want to ensure the best quality, I encourage you to pre-order at least a day before, and you can either pick it up at any of my classes or have it delivered straight to you via Maxim or Grab. This is your sign to start building healthier habits in the most convenient way with Daily Greens. So now that you have an idea of my journey with journaling, I want to proceed with the journaling prompts that I have used in the past several years that have worked for me. But also these prompts are what I use presently, and they're actually part of my journal, which I created, Project Self-Love. So because I've tried different journaling methods, this journal that I created, I kind of just picked and choose what I felt really worked for me and what still works for me now. And so I'm going to go through each one, and hopefully one of these or all of these start to resonate with you and become part of your own daily journaling practice. So number 1, the first thing that I start with is today I want to feel. Now, usually, for example, today, I would probably say today I want to feel just energized and happy because it's a Friday. It's a Friday. We're nearing the weekend and I get to rest today. I get to chill a little bit. So I just want to feel happy and energized and excited, right? But there are some days too that I modify that a little bit. So if today I want to feel doesn't really work for you, you can also switch it up to today will be a good day because. And I notice that I use that one whenever I feel just really low. Like I feel like I'm not in the mood to do this. I feel like I don't want to do anything. I just want to give up and stay in bed and let the world pass by me kind of thing. So whenever I switch to that question, that always just makes me feel a little better. That always turns things around here. Number 2, today's big 3. Today's big 3, usually that would be 3 things that I want to focus on. So 3 things that I want to focus on for the day. So for example, this is like what I always use because whenever you have so much to do in a day, right? It can be very, very stressful and paralyzing. Like that's what used to happen to me all the time. I would just feel so overwhelmed with everything that I needed to do. And then I would just like, I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it because I don't know how to start. I don't know what to do. And so ever since I started doing this has changed how accomplished I feel, like how fulfilled I feel every single day. So here's the thing. Today's big three, for example, for today, my big three were because it's already evening time. Number one was to work on what's today? It's Friday. Was to work on daily greens. So just kind of update, admin stuff, just boring admin stuff. Second was to do this, to create content, because like creating content always makes me feel good. It makes me feel excited. And it's like it's work almost, but it's like fun work, right? So it just feels like it's a reward when I get to do this. And then the third one was to work on JCI stuff, because I'm a baby in JCI Iloilo Ilongga, meaning I'm like a new member. Like I just joined. So there were just a few things that I need to do with JCI, and that's my big three for today. There are some days though when I feel like just really weak, just not in the mood, just not doing good. And my big three would just be today, I just want to meditate. I want to practice yoga. And then I'm going to stay home and enjoy being home alone. Like that's it. So as you can see, your big three can look very different. And it's very important that you look at what you really need every single day, or what you need in the moment. So for example, big three could be, I'm going to move today. So whether that's walk, exercise, yoga, whatever that is, I'm going to rest today. And then I'm going to do this errand that I haven't been able to do in a while. And it has to be specific so that, again, you don't feel too overwhelmed by it. And the beauty about focusing on your big three is that it doesn't feel too much. It just feels just enough for you. And if ever you feel like you can do more, you can always do more. Like all the more that it'll feel like rewarding, but just focus on those three things and then that's it. And once you finish that, you just feel so much more accomplished. And I always remind myself whenever I list down my big three, like as much as I want to add a fourth one, a fifth one, a sixth one, I don't have to. Like the world is not going to end if I just do these three things today. I can still do it tomorrow. I can still do it in another time. And if it's going to be late, if it's going to be delayed, so what? So what? Like, doesn't matter. I don't want to have to pressure myself. And if there are people who are going to get mad, I don't care. I really don't. Like, so what? I'm trying to get by every day. I'm doing the best I can. And if that's it, if it's just these three things and everything else I'm unable to do, so be it. So that's kind of my attitude now ever since I started practicing the big three, and it really has helped my mental health a lot. The next would be Mindful 5. So Mindful 5 is this one. I got it from I think it was called Morning Minutes, where you just take 15 minutes to write down anything and everything that comes to mind. It doesn't even have to make sense. Just kind of write everything, and you never let your pen leave the paper, basically. But for me, I feel like 15 minutes is so long. So again, I just shortened it and I decided to call it Mindful 5 because it just sounds pretty cool for now. And so basically I set a timer for 5 minutes and then I just write down everything. Again, same concept, but just 5 minutes. And I noticed that this is very important for me because this is my way of dumping all my thoughts into a piece of paper so that it's no longer in my head. So everything, like I just write and write, like even if it sounds so stupid, even if it sounds so rude, so disrespectful, so crazy, so insane, I just write it down. And it feels really good because when you meditate, sometimes you're still with those thoughts and it can still be very distracting, but when you decide to just write it down, you're like taking it out of your head, and so it doesn't stay with you for the rest of the day. It really helps. So I highly recommend Mindful 5. There are days where this is the only thing I journal about and then I'm done, so Mindful 5 is number 3. Number 4 is gratitude list. This is another one that will never not be part of my journaling practice, because this is very, very important. Like, this is one of those things that's pretty amazing how it just works. Whatever you are going through, whatever you are feeling, no matter how bad that is, how traumatizing it is, no matter how sad you are, really, if you just take a moment and ask yourself what you're grateful for, it changes everything. When I was going through what I was going through, I lost a lot of people. I just lost a lot of things. It's like I lost a whole part of my identity. And then through that time, through the process of accepting that, moving on, moving forward, I would just always go back to this. Today, I'm grateful that I have a bed to sleep on. Today, I'm grateful that we had a car to take us from one class to the next to keep us safe. Today, I'm grateful that even though I've lost so many, I've gained a deeper relationship with the people who are still around. And that got me through. That got me through everything. So gratitude list, sometimes I forget how big of an impact it has, just a small little thing, but it's so powerful. So gratitude list is the most important one, and that would be the 4th prompt that I have for you. Number 5, next would be, what are my wins today? So when you say wins, it's, what are the things that you feel you've achieved today or accomplished today? But it doesn't have to look like an actual achievement, okay? It could look very different. Maybe there are times, like for me, when I consider my win is getting up today and then meditating right away, right? Instead of sulking in bed or just staying in bed until my eyes, or until I have like an insane migraine that I need to get up. I need to get out of bed to get water or to take care of it, So that could be how your win is. Or it could be, my win today was holding a successful talk with this many participants and just feeling so happy about it and so confident and so proud, So that could also be a win today. And what I love about acknowledging those wins every day, every time you journal, it just gives you such a boost of confidence. It just makes you realize, today I was just kind of feeling a little shitty, but now that I realize I actually had a win today, I feel really good. I can actually go to sleep in peace, So always acknowledging whatever your wins are, especially those small wins, is important. If there are times when listing down what your wins are doesn't really work for you, then you can also switch that up and ask yourself, what worked for me? Today, what worked for me? So maybe it could be, what worked for me today is that I opted to stay home in the morning so that I can get more sleep, so that I can rest. And because of that, I was able to finish more work. And it really did work out for me. So that's probably what I would write. So again, number 5 is, what are your wins today, or what worked for you today? Now, number 6, or right after that, you can ask yourself, what could have worked better? So that way we can use that journaling experience, or that practice, that daily practice, to also learn something from the day and improve, and grow. Because again, that's, what we're meant to do as human beings here. We're meant to experience things and learn and grow from those experiences to become a better version of ourselves, right? So I always usually write down, like, what could have worked better for me? What could I have changed? That's another way to put it as well. So maybe for me today, what could have worked better would, I wish I was able to walk with my dog. Also, I wish I was able to drink more water, because I'm very bad at drinking water. So Don't tell anyone. But yeah, I'm very, very bad. Like, I think I didn't drink water today. I'm just realizing it. It's already 6 p.m. So that could have worked better. I should drink more water, guys. You should go drink water right now if you're not drinking water. Yeah, it's very bad. I always hear from my doctor, my acupuncturist. He always tells me, you need to drink water. You're dehydrated. I'm sorry. But anyway, that's what could have worked better for me. Now, the last one would be, what did you learn today? What are some of your learnings? And as cheesy as that may sound, I actually sometimes forget about this journal prompt. This is not part of my Project Self-Love Journal, but this is something that I have been trying to do more frequently now, especially in my counseling sessions. Whenever I counsel someone else, I always try to squeeze that in and ask them, what did they learn from this session? Because there's always something to learn every day, right? What could have worked better? And so what are your learnings from that? So for me, what I have learned today is that I need to always take time to pause, because sometimes when I am resting or when I am taking a break, I'm mindlessly scrolling. So I'm still not mindful. And because of that, I forget to drink water, or, I forget that I need to acknowledge the beings around me. So I have dogs, right? And I have my husband, my partner. I need to make sure that I also am present with them, and that I can also be there for them. And that could be walking my dog, or that could be just listening to my partner, and sharing and showing my love to him, and just, letting him know that I'm here for him. So those are some things that maybe I need to learn. And of course, towards myself, it's making sure that I need to drink water. I need to slow down and drink some water, because I get very lazy sometimes to drink water. But that's something that's very, very important. So those are the journaling prompts that I do daily. And for me, I would highly recommend that you try this every day, because it really does make such a huge difference when you make it a consistent practice, a regular practice. And the beauty about it is, when you do this can be your few minutes a day for yourself, your way of giving back to yourself. So even if you have so much to do in a day, even if you're so busy, especially if you're a parent, if you have a lot of businesses to run, a lot of work to do, you're basically not even at home, even taking 15 minutes to just sit down and write a little bit can already be your mindfulness practice for the day. And that alone can already make huge waves of change, positive change in your life. And the thing is, you won't feel it right away. Always remember that this is not, whenever you're on a healing process or a journey of mindfulness, that's a thing, you don't get the results right away. It takes years, it takes time, it takes consistency and discipline for you to feel the effects of your hard work, So just keep that in mind, that this is not the answer to all our problems, but it can guide you to that. And in time, you will start to see how it changes the way you think, how it influences the way you make decisions, choices that you make throughout your life, and the path that you also decide to take on starts to also shift. So in summary, journaling plus therapy, that combo have been staples in my life, and it really helped me manage my mental health, my bipolar diagnosis for years. Journaling in between those therapy sessions allowed me to process my sadness, my loneliness, all the uncertainty that I had, and it supported my healing without medication. So for me, it worked, but it might not work for everyone. But for me, that combo really helped me so much. I journaled when I needed the clarity and the calmness, and journaling usually helps me take in all my experiences as well, all the good, all the bad. It helps me take a moment with it and sit with it for a bit, release it out into the world so that it doesn't stay in my mind, it doesn't stay in my heart, but also just helps me become more present because you're more aware as you journal more regularly. So the journaling prompts that saved my mental health was, number 1, today I want to feel, or today will be a good day because. Number 2, today's big 3 are, kind of enumerate that. Number 3 is mindful 5. So taking 5 minutes to just write down everything and anything. Number 4, gratitude list. What are you grateful for today? Number 5, my wins today are, or what worked for me today. Number 6, what could have worked better? And number 7, lastly, what are my learnings? So thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Ilongga Yogi podcast. If you'd like more similar content, you can follow me on my socials at Ilongga Yogi. Wishing you peace in the body, peace in the mind, and peace in the heart wherever you are. Always take care of yourself. Bye-bye.